you want to do today's intro? Huh? Hello and welcome to Vlogmas. Okay, that was really bad. Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 10. Today is Monday, December 9th. My name is Meg. I am the yarn dyer behind the hand-dyed yarn company Megs & Co. And I'm here chilling on my couch on a Monday after work with my two pups. I got Luca on my lap. I got my snoozy Logue Bear over here, who's got his head buried in pillows. He's been doing this lately. I don't know what his deal is, but that's fine. You just tune out the world. But yeah, just got home from work, so ready to relax. I think I am gonna pop downstairs and do a little bit of work. But before I do that, I wanted to open up my, I wanted to open up my Advent presents before I did that. And also tonight is, if you are in the Rochester, New York area, tonight is the December meeting for the Rochester Knitting Guild. And luckily it's actually online tonight. So I was gonna open up my Advents and do some stuff around the house first, and then go downstairs and do some work while I'm attending the Zoom session of the Rochester Knitting Guild meeting. And so I'm really excited about that. And if you have like a knitting guild in your area, I highly recommend checking it out. It's just such a great resource. Usually the membership dues for a guild are relatively low, and it just gives you a lot of great access to a great community, a lot of resources, classes, workshops, and I really enjoy my knitting guild. So we meet once a month except for like the summer, and every month there's like a different talk, so to speak, and so I find them to be quite informative, and I love the community aspect. And ever since COVID, they've kept to a hybrid schedule, so the majority of our meetings are in person, but there's a couple meetings thrown in there throughout the year that are still online. And it's kind of nice that the December one is online, because everyone is usually so busy in December and is traveling and doing all the things. So it actually kind of fell perfectly that today is online. The weather here in Rochester is really gross tonight. It's not snowing or anything, but it's pouring, which I think is even worse than the snow. I can take the snow. The snow is beautiful, but 40 degrees and pouring is just gross. So I have no desire to go back outside. I'm home. I just want to stay cozy with my snoring snoozy boy. So I'm excited. I think tonight's topic is on knitting machines, which I think is really fun. I've never used a knitting machine. Don't know anything about them. So it'll be learning for me. So that'll be fun. And I like that I'll have something engaging to watch while I'm working. But let's get to projects. So yesterday I got a really good dent on my test cardigan. So this is a test knit that I'm doing for Alicia Plummer. I forget the name of it. When she first did the call out, it didn't even have a name, but I think she has now named it. But this is still in test, so this pattern is not out yet. So it's a bottom-up cardigan, and I am knitting this in my Empire State New York State yarn. So this is my custom blend yarn that is sourced, spun 100% from New York State yarn. It is a DK weight, and I'm doing it in the color Midnight Fig, which is a nice like deep dark purpley, almost brown, but not quite brown. It definitely has color to it. So I have finished the waistband, the ribbing portion of the waistband. I wanted to get that done yesterday. So the ribbing portion I was doing with a smaller size needle, and I wanted to get that done so that I could put it on the main needle for the body. So I was able to get that done. So now I'm working on the body, which is just garter. So I think I have easy street for a little bit. There is some shaping coming up, and because of that, I feel like I have a decision point to make, because I'm gonna have to go back to my gauge swatch and measure my row gauge. So I always, you know, I feel like we always concentrate on our stitches per inch, and a lot of times, you know, you don't really pay attention to your row gauge, and the row gauge tends to not matter quite as much because those are the things you can kind of wiggle around with by adding more rows as needed. But I want to go back and check my row gauge to figure out how close I am to the gauge of the pattern, because I think my row gauge is potentially much smaller than the pattern, because, and I say that because the pattern wants you to do for my size, it wants you to do 4 buttonholes, and the buttonholes are going to be spaced this much apart. So I didn't measure this, but I don't know, what does that look like? 1.5 inches maybe? So I already have 2 buttonholes. So my second one is gonna be there and then there, and that is a teeny tiny body. Like that is not my torso. So I think that I am going to need a lot more length to the body. And of course this is bottom up, so it's not like, you know, you knit your yoke and then you can just keep adding rows as needed. You kind of have to make the decision of how much to add a little bit earlier, if that's making sense. And the other thing is there's body shaping coming up, and she put in the instructions, I hope I'm not giving things away, but she has body shaping coming up, and she has indicated in the pattern that if you're going to add length, you need to add it to the bottom, which totally makes sense, because if you were going to do a top down, you would be adding your length to the bottom. You would do all of your shaping, you would do all of your things, and then you would just keep adding length as needed. So if you're going to add length, you have to do it here before you start doing any of your shaping. And yeah, so if I only have a few more rows before I'm supposed to start body shaping, and I feel like I'm not even over my hip bone. Like, how am I supposed to start body shaping? So I don't know. Anyway, long story short is I feel like this might get set down again so that I can have a good think about how much extra length I want to do. I think I definitely need to go back to my swatch and measure my row gauge, potentially do some calculations to try to estimate what, based on my row gauge, if I keep going, like what my body length would be based on the number of rows as written in the pattern, so then I can figure out how many extra rows I want to put in there before I start doing any kind of body shaping. I am very tall. I am 5'10", so I always need extra length. So even if I want a cropped pattern, I always need extra. So it's not unreasonable that even if I'm perfectly on row gauge, it's not unreasonable that I'm going to need a whole extra button repeat regardless. But I think I'm going to need 2 to 3. And then I have to look because I think the button set that I want to use, I need to show you guys the buttons. They're so cute, the buttons that I'm gonna plan to use. I need to double check to make sure they're gonna fit through these holes, but they're gonna fit through these holes. I'm gonna make sure of that. But I think I only have 6 of them, so I hope that I don't need any more than 6 buttonholes. And what I mean by that is, so the buttonholes are spaced out, like every so many repeats you're supposed to do a buttonhole. So the number of repeats is already decided. I already dropped 2 buttonholes. So the length between my buttonholes is already decided because I've already dropped my buttonhole there. So now it's the more length I add, the more buttonholes I will be adding, because I'll be adding length, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of math, do a little bit of thinking, to try to figure out how much length, how much length I want to add into this before I start the shaping section. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else to show about it. It's just a ribbed section. So I like the color, but you know, there's really not much to write home about. It just kind of looks like a headband, if anything, at this point. Yes, but I feel like I'm in a really good place. I know when I started this, I was really nervous that I was starting it kind of late, because I had originally gauge swatched like a couple weeks ago, and then like my gauge was so off, and then I procrastinated on making my second swatch, and then I felt guilty that I was like going back into the testnet like so late. But I dipped into the chat yesterday, and I know that a testnet is not a race. This is not a race. It's a testnet. Everyone's project is their own project. Everyone's knitting is their own pace. But you know that nobody wants to be last. Nobody wants to be last. And so I dipped into the chat, and there were more than one other testers that had either just received their yarn that they had ordered, or were even still looking for their own yarns. So meaning that they also had not started. So it actually made me feel a lot better that I'm actually kind of right on pace with the group. And there was there's always like the couple people that like somehow like finish it within like a day, and you're like, I don't understand how you have this time, but fine. But it kind of seemed like everyone else was like right around this spot. So I feel really good, and yeah, so I feel like it's okay for me to kind of take a little space to think about how I want that length to be, which is good, because I don't want to rush through this. I want a nice, good fitting garment. So what do you think? Do you think we should open an Advent? He's so cute when he's snuggly. So this one has like 2 modes. He's either snuggly like this, or he's in guard mode, which means he's not snuggling. He's guarding the house. He's on high alert. So it's very cute when he's snuggly. He's probably cold. Oh gosh. It was just a bag. So I'll start with I've ruined it. Now he won't be snuggly. I'll start with my Buku Yarns Advent. So there's really not much to show you with this. I did bring this to work today, but I feel like I did not get much done on my lunch break. I don't know, maybe I just did not take a long lunch break. I was kind of doom scrolling a bit rather than knitting, as we like to do. So there's really not much to show you. I feel like I did not get a lot accomplished on that today. But I do want to get the next 2 colors caked up. Come here, buddy. You sit back down? Yeah, come on. Come snuggle. I know I dropped the thing. I'm sorry. Come on. Come on, lay down. Lay down. Come on. Lay down. Can you? Okay. But today is a yarn day, so hopefully I'll get all 3 of these caked up, and I've got a full week that I can make some good progress. You want to see? Why are you standing on your brother? That's not very nice. Today's colorway is called Bird Bath. Very pretty. I don't know if I like knew this was a fade, but I love the way that these are fading. I am obsessed with fades. So I am, like I said, I probably did know that it was a fade, but I feel like you read these descriptions so long ago when you do the pre-orders for these advents that I just don't specifically remember what the description was. But I love fades. So it does seem like these are fading into at least a kind of gradient like progression, and I am so here for it. And I like how it's not like super gradual either. Like I like how each color is an individual color. Like every color is unique and individual, but they still do fade like really nicely together. Like if you didn't do this pattern and you, because like this one, so the pattern doesn't have you actually fading the yarn together as in like rotating the skeins. So doing like a stripe of each skein so that the skeins kind of, you know, mesh into the fabric, and that's how you get that nice fade effect through the fabric. This has you changing the color kind of bluntly. And so I like that you can tell that each color is a unique color, but it still has a nice gradual progression. So I think it's going to be pretty. And again, I need to read ahead in the pattern, as I don't know exactly like where, you know, each of these colors is going to go. But now I have 3 colors, so I'm going to get these caked up and hopefully be making some good progress on this shawl this week, so that I can show you something a little bit more than the same thing, because that's going to get really boring really fast. And then today's spun right round, and I love how it says 9, so that you are not confused at all as to which package that you need to be opening today. Today is the 9th, right?
It is.
Okay. For whatever reason, I had this moment of like, is it the 10th? Like, have we lost a day? Here's today's color. This one's nice. I like how it's a little bit more subtle compared to some of the other days that we've been getting. I'll have to lay out all the colors so far. So these have just been all very bright, really nice colors. So I'm planning on doing a striped pullover with my Spun Right Round minis. I'm going to be making that hopefully in January. I want to finish all my other projects first, so I get kicked to February, but my hope was for it to be my January birthday project. And I'm already like really excited because I think it's going to come out really beautifully. So then we have Twice Sheared Sheep. Ooh, we've got some point protectors, and they are cute little cows. Never go wrong with some cows. Very cute. All right. Always fun to open gifts. Always look forward to countdown season and getting to open up these little gifts. So dramatic. I don't know if the microphone is picking up his big dramatic snores and sighs. My other one has run away, and now he's back in guard mode. That he's upset that the bag fell on the ground, but that's okay. I feel like I was saying something before, and I don't know what it was. Oh no, I was just saying that this time of year is always so much fun, that I feel like, you know, about mid-years when we start picking out, you know, what gifts we're gonna give ourselves in terms of our countdowns and our advents, and it's like we wait all year to finally start opening these. So it's so exciting. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go pop downstairs, and I'm gonna grab my laptop so I can hit up my Zoom. What time is it? I've got about a half hour before my Zoom call starts, so I can get to my Knitting Guild meeting. Knitting Guild. And hopefully get a good amount of work done downstairs. Just more skating. Got so much yarn to twist. And then I'm gonna check. It's probably not dry yet because I hung it up kind of late yesterday. But I'd love to be able to photograph the sock sets, but they probably will not be dry and ready to photograph until tomorrow. So that might be a tomorrow thing to photograph those, but I'm really excited to see how they came out, to photograph them, to see how all those colors go. I actually had the idea in my head for kind of what I already wanted to make with one. So for the solid colors, I did, so for the speckled color, it's all full-size skeins. And for the solid color, I did half a pan of mini skeins and half a pan of full-size skeins. And so I had an idea in my head of pairing the 3 full-size skeins into a juniper cowl by Teal Yarn Works. I actually just finished one last month using Spun Right Round's Halloween Countdown minis, and it came out so good. I loved making it, and I actually gifted it to my mom, and I loved it. Like, I loved how it came out, but I also just loved the cowl. It's so squishy. So I really want one for myself, and those are my colors. So I think I'm going to steal. So I think I'm going to take the full-size skeins and make a juniper cowl. And that would be really pretty, because I already kind of have a lot of sock projects going on at the moment. It's funny because I made the collection to be a sock set. So it seems kind of silly that I'm not taking the sock set to make socks, but I have a lot of socks on my needles right now. So it just does not make sense for me to make socks right now. But it does make sense for me to make a juniper cowl right now, because I want it. So yeah, so probably tomorrow is when it'll be dry enough for me to actually photograph that. So hopefully I can get that in the shop on Friday for a shop update. That'll be really exciting. And then probably will not get to casting on my juniper cowl until like Christmas break, but that's okay. That'll be actually a really nice Christmas break project. So all right, Logan, what do you think? You want to go downstairs? Okay. You want to go downstairs? You want to go downstairs? You want to go to Disney World? You want to go to the moon? Do you want cheese? This one wants cheese. Came running out when I said cheese. That was so mean. Okay, I'm gonna go downstairs.